Hi, this is Erin Lincoln, and we're in the 1960s having some paper crafting fun. We're going to be using the 1960s era kit to create stencils out of our dies and layering them on other shapes and stamping through them with the crosshatch design. Alright, this is my project, and I was inspired by 1960s print work to take a single shape, repeat it in various colors, slightly overlapping, and within those overlaps, another color and another shape is created. And so that's what we're focusing on here. I've taken this funky circle, and I've cut out 4 pieces of cardstock in an ombre color range. And then I'm finding my corresponding ink, but I'm offsetting it by 1. So I don't have the lightest shade ink, and I'm going to have 1 ink that's darker than the darkest shade of cardstock. So I don't have a Harvest Gold ink. And there's a reason for this. This is how we're going to create those half steps in color, expanding our color palette from what we already have existing. Alright, you're going to make a stencil using the same die, in this case this funky circle, and you're going to use the negative piece as your stencil. And you're going to line them up. You're going to make sure these fit like a puzzle piece. They're a little tough because they're so uneven. And you're going to offset your stencil on your cardstock. You're going to make kind of a new shape. And this is where this crosshatch stamp is going to go and create a new shape and a new color tone. Use your pencil to mark the inside. And this way you can easily line up your subsequent shapes. You're going to see how this fits in here in a second. Okay, take the ink that is 1 shade darker than your cardstock. In this case, it's Summer Sunrise ink on Harvest Gold cardstock. Ink up your crosshatch design and stamp it through your stencil onto the cardstock, creating another tone and another shape. So you have this nice curve and a new color. Now we're going to repeat it with all these circles we've cut out. This is Summer Sunrise cardstock. I'm lining it up, and now you can see why I marked the inside, and you're going to want to do this too. So you can line it up. You can kind of fit it together like a puzzle. There you go. And this way, that shape that you created originally is the same shape you're going to create on the other circles. Again, take the ink that's 1 shade darker than your cardstock. So we're using Orange Zest ink on Summer Sunrise cardstock. I have to concentrate on this. Ink it up and stamp it down. And this is the whole rhyme and reason why I created all these shapes in this large crosshatch design, was to do this specifically. And it's going to be exciting to see how you guys take all these shapes and this idea and create your own projects. Okay, now we have Orange Zest cardstock, and we're going for the terracotta tile ink. It is 1 shade darker. My stencil and my scratch paper are getting kind of messy, but that's fine. It means you're having fun. And what's nice, I'm going from lightest to darkest in color, and that way I don't have to clean my stamp off every time, because the lighter shade ink is not going to affect the darker shade ink. I'm just going for it. Got it pressed down really hard and have maybe a nice soft matte. I have this Restoration hardware catalog. They send you like this huge brick, and I just kind of chuckle because I'm like, thank you, you just created scratch paper for me to last a year. You know, you got to go green. I can't believe they send that huge stack. Okay, this is Canyon Clay ink. This is the darkest color ink, 1 step off from our darkest shade of cardstock. Now, I don't think you have to do ombre. I think you just need to make sure whatever ink you're using matches the darkest color. You can go, I'm sure you can come up with some funky color combinations and it would still work. All right, now this is where it all comes together. The shapes that we created are all the same. because we marked it up with our pencil, created ourselves a guide. And when we put it all together, you see how new shades have been created in this tonal look. And you can see another circle so where the two overlap. It's really kind of fascinating. Okay, we're going to get our card stock base here. This is just a A2 card out of Stampers Select White. And I am just putting them down here so I can see how they're going to fit, so I can adhere them. And I'm trying to keep those lines all even, especially those new circles. You see how the original shape can be found in the overlap. And we're just going to adhere this. I'm getting a sense of where I need to position these circles using my ATG gun. Thing's a workhorse. And I'm just going to put these on my card stock base, making sure I make all the pieces fit so all the curves connect to the new curves. So there's a lot of shapes in this kit, and you can apply this technique to any of them. You can do these layered stenciled looks with these half steps in color between. So I'm really looking forward to what you're going to come up with. And I sort of did this this line of shapes and colors with my other project too. You can refer to that as another example. See, all along I am making sure the curve created by my crosshatch design matches up with the curve of the cardstock underneath it, so you keep and maintain that circle shape within the circles. There you go. Nice long line. Just going to trim off the top. If any's hanging over, you just use your circles and trim it off. All right, now we have a sentiment strip. Another thing that I found in the 1960s was this natural wood look was really big, especially in home decor and architecture. And we just happened to have a piece of pattern paper that when trimmed sort of has that natural wood look. So I'm going to go ahead and use that right here. This is actually a riff on a random stripe, Background Basics random stripe. I use the same idea. I'm going to just stamp it with a sentiment in dark chocolate ink using our funky, whimsical 1960s font. Now the reason I went from the darkest color on top to the lightest color on the bottom is your eyes are naturally drawn from dark to light. And so I'm directing your eyes to the sentiment by placing that on the lightest color. And that's far beyond a 1960s tip. That's just a good stamping tip in general. Your eyes will naturally go from dark to light. So wherever you want to draw attention, that's where you should direct your lightest color. Okay, and this goes down below. And we're just about done. Just going to trim it off. And we're going to be done. Really kind of an easy card with a fun technique. I love how graphic it looks. Very 1960s. All right, bust out your supplies. It's time to create. Use this technique to create your own ideas and designs for your project for the 1960s. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with.